Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to go over the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. That includes results for MLW War Chamber, TNA Wrestling, WWE SmackDown, and AEW Rampage. Sorry, no collision this week. I don't want to say busy, but I went to a birthday party, so I had a little fun. So, we're going to start off with the results for MLW War Chamber, which happened this past Friday. And it was interesting, to say the least. We got Janai Kai defending her women's featherweight title against Yunka Sayazaki. I hope I am pronouncing that right. If I'm not, call me the heck out on it. AJ Francis defeated Alex Kane. That one was a big surprise. So, looks like AJ Francis is getting a little push. Mads Kruger defeated Brian Brock in a singles match. Pretty much a squash match, it sounds like. Bad Dude Tito defeated Richard Adonis, another squash match. Matt Riddle successfully defended his New Japan World Television title by defeating Kosuke Fujita. I do hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then we got our main event of the evening, and it's War Chamber, aka War Games, where basically you have two teams. One person starts for each team at timed intervals. Another member of the team joins in. When everyone's in the match starts, pinfalls, submissions count. One fall to a finish. So, on one team, you have Team MLW, which consists of the Second Gear crew, that's Matthew Justice and one called Manders, and Cozy Max, that's Shingo Okiyama, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Satoshi Kojima. And apparently Bill Alfonso was managing them. That's pretty neat. As they took on the World Titan Federation. That's Filthy Tom Lawler, Davey Boy Smith Jr., our current tag team champions, Richard Holiday, and Joshua Bishop, with Team MLW picking up the win. But then, as they were brawling in the War Chamber, out came Contra Unit, along with Ikiro Kwan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to beat down both teams. So it looks like Contra is gunning for the top, and we're getting a little bit of gang warfare, let's say. So, MLW doing some fun stuff. We now move into our full review, and we start off with TNA Wrestling. And we start off with an 8-4-1 match. Now, there has been only one other one of this type of match in TNA history. Basically, it starts out as a 4-on-4 match. You know, kind of Survivor Series-ish, but one fall to a finish instead of elimination style. The winning team then faces each other in a Fatal 4-Way. Winner of that gets the Knockouts title shot. Participants, we got Xia Brookside, Dani Luna, was supposed to be Ash by Elegance, but we'll get to that in a minute, and Rosemary taking on the team of Jody Threat, Jessica Havoc, Masha Slamovich, and Alicia Edwards. Now, Ash and her concierge do come out. However, it's revealed that Ash cannot compete because she had some collagen injections. So we have a suitable replacement, Steph DeLander, making her TNA return. Definitely good to see her in here, taking the place of Ash. The 4-on-4 match was a little clunky. You could tell they were trying to rush through this part a little bit. But I definitely still had fun with it. including times where Rosemary and Havoc were in at the same time, and they just knocked, Danny Luna out a little. That was funny. Then ultimately Luna wins via the roll-up to pick up for the win for her team, which then leads into our fatal four-way, which is Danny Luna, Xia Brookside, Rosemary, and Steph DeLander. Before the match gets started, Masha Slamovich takes out Danny Luna. She goes to the outside. So that just leaves Brookside and Steph DeLander to take on Rosemary. They work together for a little bit. But then eventually, Steph DeLander takes Xia, tosses her over the top rope, and she gets flung into Ash by Elegance, who was sitting ringside. And then they just all brawl to the back. So that just leaves Rosemary with Steph DeLander. And then who happens to interfere while all the ruckus is going on? It's woo, woo, woo. It's Matt Cardona making his TNA return, hitting a radio silence on Rosemary. Steph DeLander with a TKO to pick up the win and making her the number one contender for Rebellion. That match is going to be interesting. I am excited for it. Next up, we see footage of Steve Maclin and the Rascals talking about Rascals bailing on Steve Maclin in the match against Time Machine. Maclin then runs into Chris Sabin, and they set up a match for what they say is next week, but is really this week, which is definitely interesting. I kind of like that setup. Makes sense. Then we see a little Time Machine promo. They're backstage in the locker room. With Alex Shelley pretty much saying, look, Steve Maclin isn't a Time Machine problem. This is a Chris Sabin problem. Why are you going up against the group? And Sabin and Shelley get into each other's faces for a little bit. They don't fight. But then Shelley's like, look, you can focus on the singles all you want. That's a great idea. I'm going to do the same. And he walks off. So, I'm not sure what this means for Time Machine / the Motor City Machine Guns. I guess we'll see in the coming weeks. Although, starting today, both Sabin and Shelley are free agents. So, who knows where they could turn up. We then get a promo from the former TNA Tag Team Champions, the ABC, saying, how they had such a fall from grace. Crazy idea. Let's give a shout out to Jake something for winning that match. But Chris, you shouldn't have been in that. We should be preparing for our tag team title rematch. And Bay's like, obviously I could focus on many things at once. What's so wrong about the ABC bringing in more gold? And then Ace is like, alright, so if you're going to stand up to for the ABC, I'm going to do the same. It's going to be all for the team. I'm going to go find Frankie Kazarian and handle our business. So, nice little promo from the ABC. I hope that doesn't mean they're breaking up, because they're such a good tag team. But I guess we'll see. We then go in the ring. It's a grizzled young veterans promo. They're complaining about the match last week against Time Machine, and they're ready to teach Diener an important lesson. And then out comes Diener, pretty much saying, look, I speak for everyone. You guys need to shut your mouths, and I'm going to be the man to do it. So I went to Santino, And he said, I could pick my opponent for tonight, and it's going to be either two of you. But I'm not going to be the one to choose. He is. Is it going to be this guy or this guy? Crowd starts chanting, both these guys. Both these guys. And Dina's like, both? Alright. And just starts wailing on James Drake for a little while. Then that leads to a 2-on-1 match, which that's very surprising. As the grizzled young veterans take on Diener. At first, Diener is in a little bit control. Eventually, the numbers do catch up to him. With Zach Gibson coming in, hitting a grit your teeth for the win for the grizzled young veterans. I could see them going for the tag titles again. Maybe not so soon, but they definitely need to get away from Diener. Like, no offense to Diener. I like Diener. The vets need to be somewhere else. Okay, anyway, next we get a Nick Nemeth interview talking about the comments Moose had for him last week. Pretty much saying, look, you took some digs at me. It's what the system does. Before he can continue, in comes Alex Shelley. Pretty much saying, look, I know you can beat Moose. You can be the champ. I've beaten the system before, and I would still be champ if Kushida didn't throw the towel in on our match. However, once you become champion, I'd like to be first in line for the title shot. Then Dolph Ziggler's like, alright, look, how about instead of going through all that red tape, we speed this process up, we have it this match a lot sooner. They shake hands, and Alex Shelley's like, yeah. So clearly he was trying to get himself a title shot, but maybe he's a little disappointed that he didn't get it. So, kind of an interesting story going forward. We then go to the ring. We got a Josh Alexander promo. He's all in his gear. Puts over Philadelphia, which is where they're taping from. Saying, today is a good day. I have a big score to settle. I went to Santino, got myself an open contract for a match tonight. Hammerstone, why don't you get out here so we can handle this like men? Hammerstone doesn't come out. Oh, look at this. Big Bad Hammer is scared. Then out comes someone very unexpected. It's Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, former Ring of Honor guy. He gets in the ring. He gets on the mic saying, look, I didn't want to just come out. If you're going to come out here and talk about great wrestling, you're looking at one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I've been waiting for an opportunity here in TNA. So if Hammer doesn't want to fight you, I do. So then we get this match. It's the walking weapon Josh Alexander taking on Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. And oh my goodness, this was a masterclass of wrestling. Like, it did start off a little slow, kind of cross faces, ankle picks. But then it grew. It got into second gear. Count with Tracy Williams countering out of the C4 spike. Josh getting some gnarly suplexes. Tracy Williams with a DDT onto the top turnbuckle, which that looked like it hurt. Tracy Williams gets the crossface in. Josh Alexander goes for a roll-up attempt, only for a 2 count. Tracy then holds on. Then Josh fights out of it. Couple big boots, a big roll-through, where eventually Josh Alexander hits the C4 spike to pick up the win. Like I said, masterclass. And I think one of my favorite matches of the year so far. Like, if you're not watching TNA, I suggest you go find this match out. It was so good. Post-match, Josh and Tracy have a little handshake. Josh is raising Tracy's arm. Hush. Shh. Then, out of nowhere, Hammerstone attacks both these men. He still has Josh Alexander's head ear protectors. Let's call them what they are. He puts them on Tracy and just starts battering Tracy Williams. So it does look like we're going to eventually get a big old match between Hammer and Josh Alexander in the future. We then cut to backstage. We got Santino Marella and Mustafa Ali talking. With Santino congratulating Ali on his recent reveal of the PWI cover star, which that's pretty neat. Then he turns to, look, obviously we need to preserve this. I need to be X Division champion for a long time. So I think Jake something clearly isn't qualified because he's just too big. And Santino brings up, look, the X Division, it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Take a look at Samoa Joe. He was champ for a while here, and he was well over a weight limit. They argue back and forth a little bit, and then Santino's like, look, what about someone like Rhino? He would clearly still fit in to the championship scene. Then Ali starts just going off on Rhino. Then you see behind Ali, the Rhino's standing there, and as Ali's going on, he stops because he feels his presence. He's like, he's right behind me, isn't he? And Santino just nods. Ali turns around. He's like, Mr. Rhino, nothing but respect for you, dude. And then Rhino, clearly fired up, says, look, it's obvious you have no respect for your elders, so why not we do next week, you versus me, old school rules match. And then Rhino walks off. Ali's like, no, that's a terrible idea. Why would we do this? Santino's like, that's a great idea. Approved. I love... You know what? A fun little setup for what is going to be a very interesting match. I don't think they ever fought before. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Ali handles something like this, but also then handles Jake something. Which, that match is going to be awesome. We then go to our next match of the evening, as it's Eddie Edwards, one half of the tag team champions, taking on one half of the challengers, Speedball Mike Bailey. And, this match was absolutely awesome. A lot of really good back and forth, including Eddie Edwards catching a tornado kick and then blocking the Ultima weapon. That was wild. Then Eddie Edwards goes for the Tiger Driver. That gets blocked. Trial for a roll-up, only for a 2 count. Bailey goes in for a super kick, and as Eddie Edwards is down, Alicia Edwards grabs Speedball Mike Bailey by the leg. Speedball goes once again for the Ultima weapon, misses. And then Eddie Edwards with the Boston Knee Party for the win. So, that was a pretty entertaining matchup. I do hope they got something interesting for Speedball Mike Bailey coming soon, because he feels... He's kind of starting to feel like another guy on the roster. Don't get me wrong. Great wrestler, awesome wrestler. He's one of these guys you can... put him in the ring with a broomstick, he'd probably have a 5-star match. But he needs a title shot. Like, I know he's getting a tag title shot, but I wouldn't mind him being X Division champion again. We then cut to a video promo from PCO where all he says is, "Gone! Monsters Ball! Gone!" So it looks like that's going to be going down at Rebellion. That should be a fun one. We then go backstage for a Frankie Kazarian promo, talking up his match with Eric Young. As he says, obviously you see yourself as the hero in this story. And obviously you think our match coming up, you see yourself as the victor. But I'm the one that's going to bring the violence to you and then beat you and become the one true king of TNA. This brings in Chris Bay. He's all fired up. He's saying, "Oh, yeah, you're the king? Well, I'm coming for the crown next week." So, Chris Bay versus Kaz next week. That should be a fun one. We then get a promo from Rich Swann and AJ Francis, who dubbed themselves First Class, which, that's a pretty interesting little name for these two. As we reveal why Rich Swann joined up with AJ Francis last week, pretty much says, "Look, we're Baltimore guys, and while initially I did reject him, I did also respect him, but then I kept losing after that, so I was fed up, and I accepted his offer, and what you saw last week when I took out Joe Hendry is only the start." So, yep. This should definitely be a very, very interesting little team. Yeah, we'll see, where this goes. Then we get a very, very interesting sit-down interview with Laredo Kid, who I'm surprised is still around. I thought he was a free agent, too, but I guess he's sticking around for a little while. Going over his history in Mexico, how popular he became down there. Then he came to the States, he showed his stuff, got opportunities from big promoters. But I also came very, very close to losing my life after a bad injury with Vikingo. And now I gotta prove myself all over again. I'm gonna go for it. It's frustrating not to get my shot at the digital media title. But now I'm gonna get my shot again. And Crazy Steve, I'm coming for your title. Nice little fired up promo from Laredo Kid, who I'm definitely going to be rooting for. He's low-key, he's one of my favorite wrestlers currently going. And with that, we come to our main event of the evening as Steve Maclin takes on Chris Sabin. And this match, it was a bit all over the place. It started off a little off, but then once it got to second gear, it was awesome. A lot of counters to a lot of moves. Maclin goes for the crosshairs. Sabin sits up on the top turnbuckle. Maclin right into the ring post. Sabin with a big old crossbody, but only for a 2 count. At one point, you have Maclin and Sabin trading submission moves, which that was a nice little touch. Maclin with a crossface, roll up, only for a 2 count. Maclin with a Busaiku knee. That was interesting. Maclin then misses again on the crosshairs. But then he hits a big old clothesline. Hits Mayhem for All, only for a 2 count. Sabin with a roll-up try, only for a 2. At one point, they both go on the outside. come back in. Macklin just barely beats the 10 count. Macklin with a big DDT. Crosshairs. Sabin blocks the KIA. Goes for the cradle shock. Blocked. Into a roll-up only for a 2. Then Macklin hits the KIA for the victory. A nice big victory for Mr. Macklin. We'll see how this goes from here. And I hope that includes a continuous push in the near future. So, that was TNA Wrestling. Fairly entertaining show. A little bit too much talking for my taste, but overall, it flowed really well. It was definitely a very entertaining show. Speaking of an entertaining show, we now move on to WWE SmackDown. We start off with probably the oddest match I think I've ever seen, as Randy Orton teams up with Kevin Owens to take on Pretty Deadly. And this match was pretty darn good. Although apparently a little bit short for my liking. Because at one point we see Randy Orton on the outside. He's getting beaten up by both members of Pretty Deadly. Kevin Owens is kind of on the ground. He gets up. In rolls Logan Paul. KO punch with some brass knucks. And then Elton Prince gets back in. Covers Owens for the 1, 2, 3. And we have winners Pretty Deadly. Here's what I'm going to say. I wish this had a specific stipulation that if Pretty Deadly won here, they'd be added to the tag ladder match. Because I think that would be really fun in that ladder match. But we'll talk about that later. We then see Randy Orton checking on Kevin Owens. He's like, Logan Paul was here. I don't know where he went, but he's here. So then we see a replay. We see Logan Paul coming out from under the ring, hitting Kevin Owens, hiding, and then going back under the ring. So Randy Orton looks around the arena. Everyone's pointing to under the ring. He's like, should I look? Goes to the floor, pulls up the ring skirt. There's Logan Paul, and he just starts beating the tar out of Logan Paul. And as he's going for the suplex on the announce table, Pretty Deadly come back out, saving Logan Paul. They brawl for a bit, and then each are hit with a stunner and an RKO to end the segment. Actually, no. Before that happens, Logan Paul is he did come back out to try and help his buddies, but then he sees Randy Orton, and he runs over the barricade to the back, being followed by Kevin Owens, and they go pretty much all the way to the car park, and they drive out, Logan Paul drives out in some kind of muscle car, which, that was definitely a very interesting segment. We'll see how that match goes. We then go to a sit-down Io Sky kind of promo interview kind of thing. Talking about, how Bayley wanted to bring Damage Control together, not to put over new talent, but it was about her getting the spotlight. You all still support her. I'm the one that made Bayley relevant, and we in Damage Control got tired of her. So I did what needed to be done. And I hope after WrestleMania I never have to see her again. Then in comes Bayley from out of nowhere, and they start brawling in that little area. Man, I can't tell you how excited I am for this match. This match is going to be absolutely awesome. Then eventually officials break it up. So we'll see. We then get Nick Aldis in the ring. He's holding a little piece of paper and a clipboard, pretty much saying, look, we got some business to take care of here. Ever since I started at my GM role here on SmackDown, My goal was to make SmackDown the #1 show, and this newest signing gets me closer to that goal. So let me introduce you to SmackDown's newest signing, Jade Cargill. And that presentation, oh boy. They pretty much took the presentation Jade had in AEW and kind of turned it up a little bit. Added some nice little features to Jade's Tron. And had snow coming down, which looked really, really cool. Then you see the outline of her just flexing. That's definitely really cool. She gets in the ring. She signs the contract. She's officially on SmackDown. Then she gets on the mic. And if y'all asked me, it's about damn time. And let me make myself clear. We have one of the best women's rosters in the world. None of them is Jade Cargill. And the storm has arrived. Short and sweet promo from Jade Cargill, who, I'll admit, not exactly the best talker, but she fits in. We then go to a Damage Control interview where Dakota Kai pretty much takes the lead. Pretty much saying, oh, what has Jade done so far since she's gotten here? And barely, Io's going to embarrass you at WrestleMania. And tonight, I'm going to take Bianca out. She obviously went through 2 years of Damage Control beatings. If she were smart, she wouldn't have gotten herself involved in Damage Control business. And, yeah, that's it. They walk off. We'll be seeing them a little later tonight. So we see Nick Aldis backstage. He's kind of walking in the back. Then Alba Fire and Isla Dawn come in, and I cannot understand a word they're saying. I don't know if it's their accents or if they weren't exactly saying anything. They were just making noise. So then they leave. In walks in AJ Styles. He gets right into Nick Aldis' face. Pretty much says, look, I said to you, I wanted you to make sure LA Knight wasn't going to be here tonight. Nick Aldis said, I was assured he wasn't going to be here. And AJ Styles said, you should have just told him. So, yeah, a little tension growing between Styles and Nick Aldis. We then go to our first of 2 WrestleMania Tag Team Ladder Match qualifying matches. As we got A-Town Down Under, that's Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, taking on the Street Profits. And before the match starts, obviously A-Town Down Under make their entrance first. And before the Profits make their entrance, we see Lashley hyping up the Profits backstage, promising them champagne when they come back. And I'm going to say this match was a lot of fun. Like, Theory, even though he's not exactly an interesting wrestler, he's definitely a really good wrestler. And teaming him with someone with the personality of Grayson Waller, it's a great fit. These two guys work really, really well together. And I'm going to say this. They worked well with both Ford and Dawkins in this match. And as, you know, Angelo Dawkins hits the sky high, he's looking for a pin. We then see on the Titantron that Bobby Lashley has been taken out, along with PFAB. We see Cross. And he pretty much says, look, there's not going to be a celebration for you guys tonight, but I'm going to take this. And he has a flute of champagne. He's still kind of sipping it. Match then, it looks like Angelo Dawkins is going to be walking up the ramp. Montez Ford whiffs on the frog splash. Theory with the roll up. So your winners, A-Town Down Under, they're going to the WrestleMania ladder match. Post-match, the Authors of Pain attack the Street Profits. Karrion Kross comes out to join in. AOP hits a Super Collider on Street Profits. Then you have Bobby Lashley coming out. He's got a ripped shirt. He's selling his ribs. And he has officials in tow who are telling him, no, don't come out. Don't come out. You're hurt. So then Lashley's out. He brawls with Kross a little too much. Numbers get the better out of him. And then Kross hits his roaring elbow, whatever he calls that finishing move. So I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people are a little down on this feud. I'm digging it. Like, I feel like it's definitely not the biggest feud. Might not even be the most interesting. But seeing these two forces going at it like this makes me feel like they actually really do hate each other. And their potential street fight at WrestleMania could definitely be something. We then get a big old promo for Legado del Fantasma. Mostly just Santos Escobar with the other three looking pretty. Pretty much says, I hate to beat this guy, but I told you so. I want you guys to never forget it was me. I put Rey on the shelf for months, and then I got to beat Rey Mysterio last week. While a lot of people call him the greatest luchador of all time, I outsmarted you, Rey, with a little help from the man who despises you more than I do, Dominic Mysterio. He comes out to a chorus of boos, and he tries to say what he wants to say, keeps getting interrupted by the crowd. From what I can hear from him, he says, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Then Santos apologizes for the crowd. You were right. So then they have a little embrace. Dom continues, I did everything in my power to make my dad Rey's life a living hell. And before he can continue, out comes Rey Mysterio with pretty much the entire LWO behind him. And then Rey's pretty much saying, look, what a shame you've become. I believed I was down fighting you. Now Santos is my enemy. And while right now I have both of you in front of me, which feels like divine intervention, I'm going to beat both of you. And I'm going to issue a challenge. It's going to be Dom and Santos Escobar versus me and a partner at my choosing at WrestleMania. So then Santos Escobar goes down the list of who in the LWO will be a partner. Will it be Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, Carlito? Rey Mysterio says, no, it's going to be the newest member of the LWO, Dragon Lee. And as soon as Dragon Lee, he says that, you see Carlito just like, it looked like he was a little offended, so we'll see what goes on with that. You have everyone in, they're having a face-off. Santos kind of taps Dom on the shoulder. They go to leave. Then Zelina Vega and Elektra Lopez have a little stare down. They're jawing a little bit. Then Zelina slaps Elektra Lopez right in the face. And they all have a gigantic brawl, which ends with the LWO holding the ring. Now, I'm going to say this. Is this kind of the most heated up rivalry in the world? Absolutely. Does Dom and Rey have history? Yeah. They fought a pretty darn good match at WrestleMania last year. Did they need to have this match? Not really. I would have liked to just seen LWO versus Legado del Fantasma in some kind of another stipulation match. But I'm not going to deny it's good to get Dom on the card. Is this a little bit Is this going to be a little bit overbooked? Probably, but we'll see what happens. So we have Bianca backstage. She's getting ready for her main event. In comes Naomi, who says, look, no matter what happens tonight, I got your back. It's obvious you cannot handle damage control on my own. Bianca then says, look, it's good that you have my back. I'm here for you now. And we'll get this done together. And then they just kind of celebrate. Then we cut backstage to the Judgment Day clubhouse with Rhea and Priest talking about, oh, did you know Dom was going to be going out there doing what he did? And Priest's like, no, this is unlike Dom. And then Dom comes in, pretty much says, look, I just wanted to do something on my own, handle my own business, and take out my dad. And then Rhea says, is there anything else you want to reveal to us? Anything else you have hidden? And Dom is like, yeah, I need to see a doctor. JD and Finn Balor then help him find the office. Then Priest and Rhea keep talking. With Rhea saying, look, WrestleMania is really too important. We can't have people like this, Dom doing stuff like this on his own. Then Priest is like, don't you guys worry. WrestleMania is going to belong to the Judgment Day. So, looks like Priest definitely has a plan. It also definitely looks like we might have some more dissension in the ranks for Judgment Day, which I definitely don't mind. Maybe you see a big breakup with Priest and Finn Balor after they lose the tag titles. I'll get into that with my predictions. And, yeah, we'll see where Judgment Day ends up. We then go to our next matchup, as it's Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza taking on Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate of British Strong Style. And this match, you could definitely see British Strong Style attacking, going on more of the offensive against the battered Legado del Fantasma after their brawl, which ends in a Birmingham Hammer for the win for British Strong Style, as they're the last team to qualify for the ladder match. Now, I've been hearing some rumors. It might not be true. It may be true. I guess we'll see. That Waller, in theory, might be taken out of the ladder match and be replaced by someone else. I hope that isn't true, because I think they deserve that spot. I think if WWE are going to do anything, I think they should add a surprise team, kind of like what they did with WrestleMania 32. Either it was 32 or 33, where the Hardy Boys came back. And then maybe you put the Motor City Machine Guns in there. I wouldn't mind it. I think that'd be cool. So, anyway. So then we get a brief replay of Rock and Cody Rhodes' brawl from Raw. Which, honestly, personally, I didn't need to see it again. But apparently there was some extra stuff going on with Rock saying, oh, just because you say cut doesn't mean I'm done. And he just starts whipping Cody Rhodes with his weight belt. Which is just like, dang. Rock ain't giving no shits in this run. So, yeah. And now here comes something interesting. We have Paul Heyman. He's kind of sitting in the back, ready for this promo. He then starts off, by orders of the tribal chiefs. Usually when that's said by me, it means something's about to go down. And by order of the tribal chief, The Rock took out Cody Rhodes. And then it cuts to Jimmy, who's kind of sitting right by him, saying, by orders of the tribal chief, I'm going to get the job done at WrestleMania. But before it's brother versus brother, it's brother versus little brother next week on SmackDown, as Jay takes on Solo, who's just adjusting the tape on his finger, ready for next week. That's going to be an interesting little matchup and a little wrinkle in the story that I think was needed. Although I also do think that match needs a stipulation. We then go back out into the arena as we get an AJ Styles promo. See him saying, "It's been over a week since LA Knight invaded my home, and he beat me up, and you're the reason he went to my house and did that. Well, at WrestleMania, I got bigger plans tonight. I'm going to expose Knight for the overrated piece of trash he is." Now, Nick asked Knight not to be here tonight, but I know you're here, LA. Now, come on. Come down to the ramp so we can handle this. No music or nothing. Well, obviously, he's not going to attack me from the front. He can obviously be anywhere. He can even be the cameraman. So AJ goes after the cameraman. We see the camera kind of droop from that point of view. We then cut to another side camera. We see Cody has unmasked who he thought was LA Knight, but it was really just a cameraman. And then something really weird happens. As someone from the crowd jumps in, security grabs him. AJ's like, "Is that Knight? Is that LA Knight?" Unmasked him, some random dude. I don't even know who that is. He doesn't look like an independent wrestler. Maybe he's just some plant WWE decided to get. I don't even know. So, anyway. And AJ Styles continues, "Look, I'm done with the games tonight. I will not be playing games at WrestleMania." But then we slowly cut to someone kind of leaning against the announce table. He has a little hat on, WWE polo on, and he takes off the hat. It's LA Knight, of course. And he just straight up attacks AJ Styles, including with some chairs. LA Knight goes for a chair shot. AJ then runs into the crowd. LA Knight gets on the microphone. He says, "AJ, you talk so much trash about me. You're the biggest waste of human waste on earth. And at WrestleMania, you'll know whose game this is. Mine." So, nice little fired up promo from LA Knight. This definitely heats up this feud a little bit for me. Like, it was feeling a little bit cold to me, but lately it's been getting really good. So, we then get a Tiffany Stratton vignette in which, alright, I hopefully she gets more of a on-screen role after WrestleMania, because I think she deserves it. We then go to our main event of SmackDown, as it's Bianca Belair taking on Dakota Kai. And this match was really, really good. At multiple points, you did get Bianca trying to go for the Jaded, but of course that gets blocked. Dakota Kai with a big old scorpion kick, misses with the boot in the corner. Bianca with a superplex, hits a spear, then a KOD for the big win. Post-match, Kairi Sane and Asuka come out. They attack Bianca Belair. Then out comes Naomi, tries to help Bianca, but the numbers are way too much. Bianca tries to fight back, but again, the numbers are too much, along with Dakota Kai. Who comes out to make the save? It's Jade Cargill. And honestly, great little spot for her. She clears the ring of damage control. And all three of them point at the sign. As it's now been made official, we got a 6-man tag team match playa as Damage Control takes on Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. Personally, not the spot I would like to see all three in, but I'm glad they're on the WrestleMania card. So that was a nice little SmackDown. Very eventful. Not as eventful as Monday, but still pretty darn good. We then finish up with a little AEW Rampage as we kick it off with the Natural Dustin Rhodes taking on the Butcher of the Butcher and the Blade. And this match started out really, really weird. Like, I don't know if they missed a cue or something, but looked like they tried to lock up. I think the Blade tried to no-sell an arm drag, but instead it looked like he got a little sandbagged. But then it did pick up after a little bit, including the Butcher with a nice little arm trap. You don't really see that from Butch that much. And then you obviously see Butcher target Dustin's arm. Eventually we see the code red, only for a 2 count. Dustin goes for the crossroads. That gets blocked. Couple of arm ringers into the crossface, in the ropes. Eventually, Dustin gets the crossroads, hits the final reckoning for the victory. Definitely still good to see Dustin Rhodes in the ring. He's still... Personally, I think he's still got it. We then go to a Bullet Club Gold promo. And they're actually not in the arena. They're just outside Billy Gunn's house with Austin Colton saying, look, we're related to the guy, so it's not breaking and entering. They go in, they start picking up, seeing pictures. Oh, look, no pictures of the Acclaimed, but of us, your boys. And Billy, obviously no one's seen Billy in a while. Billy, I was the last man to sell out MSG single-handedly. Billy left last week with a shattered ankle. And we're going to be on the same page as we're going to take your trios titles. And at that point, Billy Gunn walks in. He's like, guys, what the heck are you doing here? And Bullet Club Gold panics and they just run off. I'm definitely glad we got Bullet Club Gold away from the Acclaimed, because that really went nowhere, and hopefully this is leading to the unification of the Ring of Honor and AEW Trios titles. We then get Deonna Purrazzo taking on Rose. Just Rose. And while Rose did get some offense in, kind of in the middle, this was the Deonna Purrazzo show, eventually locking in the armbar for the submission victory. We then get a nice, awesome Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson hype video, which, if you're not hyped for that match, you're out of your gosh dang mind. So then we go on to our next match, where it's Mariah May versus Nikita. Just Nikita. Toni Storm is with Mariah. She gets on the mic. She pretty much says, look, obviously, I got some news for y'all. I'm not cleared to compete tonight. But my replacement, Mariah May, who goes right after Nikita. Nikita gets a lot more offense than Rose did, which that was definitely interesting. Then Mariah May then gets back in control, hits a couple of hip attacks into the Mayday for the win. And then post-match, Toni Storm gets in the ring, and she's like jumping up and down with Mariah May, which that's really nice to see. I do hope we're not turning Toni Storm babyface, though. We then get a Zack Knight Harley Cameron interview in which Knight says, look, Matt Menard, obviously, you're calling me a coward for not fighting you in Canada. It's not like I'm asking us to go over to Norwich, but it's obvious I'm in your head. I already got you beat. And as he's throwing it to Harley Cameron, Angelo Parker with like a pipe comes in, starts beating on Knight from off screen, and he runs them both off. Then in walks Ruby Soho, who pretty much says, look, it's obvious it was a bad idea that I brought you into this situation. I told you not to go looking for a fight because this is a trap from them. And now I just can't be involved with this. And she leaves, leaving Matt Menard devastated. This is I'm going to say this is a very interesting little, I don't want to call it a love triangle, but a interesting situation. We then get a hype video from The Righteous, and I can't believe I missed that. I definitely missed what was said, but I guess they're hyping up their match for next week. And then we go to our main event of the evening, as it's Roderick Strong taking on Matt Menard. Oh, right, it wasn't Matt Menard earlier. It was Angelo Parker, Matt Menard's partner. And I'm going to say this, I have been underestimating Matt Menard. While not a super great worker, he does some really good stuff in that ring, especially with Roddy. This match was super underrated. I hope y'all go and check it out. As the match is going on, the rest of the Kingdom try to get involved, but Matt knocks them off the apron. Then Roderick with a big old knee strike to pick up the win. Post-match, Undisputed Kingdom continue the beatdown on Matt Menard. Roderick Strong gets a couple of chairs that are about to hit him. When the best friends, that's Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, come out, make the save. Orange Cassidy with an orange punch to Matt Taven. They're about to go for a best friend hug. No, they do go for the best friend hug. Then out come the Young Bucks, a couple of low blows, and a double EVP trigger to finish off the program. Oh boy, this was definitely a very eventful week of wrestling. I'm definitely hyped for what's to come. And what's to come from this channel? Wednesday, it's time for my WrestleMania predictions, as I am going to do my absolute best to not only guess the winners of the match, but the order in which they're going to be on, because for right now, I don't know. So, we'll see from there. Then Friday, it's going to be our regular coverage of Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. Then on Monday, probably going to cover WrestleMania. Although, we'll see. Maybe I'll push that back till Tuesday. Maybe do Monday, do TNA, SmackDown, and Rampage. No Collision, because that's going to be on at like midnight. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.